Now, I'm not saying that this is all call centres. This is just the experiences I've had and the observations that I have made while working in them. These are opinions, not facts. And my opinion is that call centres are fucking shit. First of all, when you start training, they make you do these gay icebreaker exercises. Who wants to stand up and tell us a bit about themselves? Who wants to play two truths and a lie? Who wants to split into teams and do a quiz? Who wants to... No one wants to do that. The reason that they do these stupid exercises is they're actually monitoring everything about you. They're looking at the way you act, the things that you say, the way that you're dressed, all these other things. They are basically examining the quality of the new livestock. And your trainer will be this super happy, super friendly, super enthusiastic person. Hey guys, welcome to your first day. Are you excited? Are you buzzing? Are you hyped? I'm fucking hyped. Type of person who will talk about how great and fantastic the call centre is. We do fun stuff all the time. Yeah, it's great here. It's such a fantastic place to work. Fuck you. You're only happy and upbeat because you got out. You managed to get promoted to a trainer and you got off the phones. You got out. But the price that you paid for that is you now have to lie to all the new starts about how fantastic it is working there and send them into sheer misery. But it's all worth it, isn't it? Anything to get off the phones. As with any call centre, you learn about 1% of what you actually need to know in training. You only actually start to learn the job when you're out on the phones in the new hire area, which is usually called something faggy like the paddling pool or the grad bay. During the first few weeks of training, you might notice one or two of the new hires quitting. This is because they realised that they were about to start working a call centre, or they heard back from one of the other jobs that they applied for that's not a call centre and said fuck this and left. In every new hire group, the first person who quits was the smartest person in that group. Now, when in the paddling pool, you do get a lot of freedom. You have a lot of freedom to make mistakes. Basically, you're kind of allowed to fuck up without the fear of getting into trouble. A manager will place a sympathetic hand on your shoulder and say things to you like, "It's okay, we all make mistakes. Everything will be fine." Then after about a month the mask falls off and you realise that this kind and sympathetic person is actually Satan. As soon as the harsh realities of the call centre start to kick in and people start getting disciplinaries for really stupid and minor things, more and more of your training group will dwindle down due to them either quitting or getting fired until all that's left is about 2 or 3 people from the original training group. Now, this small remaining group are the people that the call centre wants. They are the ones that meet their targets, they're obedient, they do exactly as they're told, but how do they do it? What's their secret? How do they cope? Fluoxetine. A call centre job is never a secure job. It is so fucking easy to get fired. There are so many rules, procedures, guidelines, targets that it's almost impossible to not fuck up and make mistakes. The reason that call centres do this is so that they have a lot of ammunition to use against people when they want to fire them. And this links with call centres' absolute abuse of the probation system. Now, when you start in a call centre, as with any job, you're on a probation period. That's standard, that's perfectly normal for every job. Call centres will tell you that it's a period so that you can adjust and train and get settled into your new career. When what it actually means is you kinda don't have a job, you're just sort of still at the stage where the call centre is going to decide whether or not to actually keep you as an employee. The problem with probation periods is you are not subject to a disciplinary procedure. You can actually be sacked at any time for any reason and without any notice whatsoever. In fact, apparently, they don't have to give you a reason. Now, if you get sacked because you're calling in and faking being sick all the time, or you're hanging up on customers, or you're turning up to work hangover and you're just basically being a dick, then yeah, you deserve to get fired. But this system is horrendously abused by call centres to the point where I have seen people getting fired for the stupidest fucking things. One girl I knew actually got fired because she added a photo to her Snapchat story that had a swear word in it. And because she was wearing her work lanyard in the photo, they said that she was misrepresenting the company and they fired her because of it. I know what really happened. She wasn't meeting her targets, she was struggling to meet them for weeks, and then as soon as that happened, they went, yes, we've got something, get rid of her. One person got fired for taking time off because they needed surgery. I have also seen people getting fired for taking time off due to depression. And I have also seen a person get fired over an old photo on a fucking Bebo account 9 years ago of them smoking a joint when they were 17. They actually get fired over that. That was like a fucking decade ago. And also, I have on 2 occasions, and I can confirm this because the managers who did it told me this themselves because I used to be friends with them, that they fired people simply because they didn't like them. They even turned around and told me, like, I'm just waiting for something I can use so I can get fucking rid of them. Call centres use their minefield of procedures and targets and things like that to collect fuck-ups from all the members of staff so that they can keep it there as ammunition ready to be used whenever they want to fire them. And a lot of the times these fuck-ups are used to actually extend a member of staff's probation period, because call centres love a member of staff who's still on their probation period, because it means that they have more freedom when it comes to dictating their shifts to what department they work in, right down to firing them. The thing with probation periods is obviously you can't legally fire someone for having like a physical disability or a mental illness or anything like that, but while someone is on probation they can be fired very easily for any reason, sometimes for no reason. That's why they use the probation period. If they identify a member of staff who's going to cause problems in the long run, like taking time off due to a mental illness, they'll find any little niggly thing to try and get rid of that member of staff. They obviously won't outright say, oh, we're sacking you because you've got depression, because they'll get fucking sued into the ground if they do that. What they'll do is go, oh, they weren't meeting their targets and they were late these 2 times, just so they've got an excuse to get rid of them. Because anyone with a mental illness that's going to require time off work and not be able to give 100% while in the call centre is just a bad investment. They keep all the collection of fuck-ups and ammunition so that they can use it against members of staff, because sometimes they'll want rid of a member of staff but it's not something that they can really fire them over, sort of like the way they're dressed or a mental illness or anything along those lines. You can't really fire someone because of that, it will make the company look bad. So when they actually do want to get rid of someone, they have all this ammunition sitting there that they can use against them. This, coupled with the absolute abuse of the probation system, means that call centres have the power to get rid of any member of staff that they want, when they want. For reasons such as downsizing, or the manager simply not liking the person, or identifying that a member of staff is going to be a problem over a long period of time due to an illness or some other issue. So it means they can just get rid of them. Now, I totally understand businesses tracking employees when they're on the premises, tracking their work, tracking their actions at work. I totally understand that, whether it be to track performance or for security reasons. But call centres do this in a fashion that resembles fucking North Korea. Using your computer and your telephone, call centres know exactly when you logged into work, exactly when you logged out for your break, how long you were logged in for, how long you were away for your break. All of these are calculated right down to the second, and if at the end of the day any of these times don't add up, a manager will be immediately over at your desk to give you into trouble for it. I got pulled up so many times for being late back from breaks, but it wasn't like 3 minutes or 5 minutes late back, it was something fucking stupid like 15 or 30 seconds late back from my break. Most of the time I was late back due to stuff that was out with my control, but managers aren't interested in hearing that shit. Also, a lot of call centres actually have a screen recording software that records everything on your screen, where your mouse was moving, what windows you were looking at, what files you opened, things like that. Now, I totally understand why call centres do this, and they're completely within their right to do this. But the only thing that I've seen this information get used for is against staff when they want to fire them. Now, in one call centre I was in, now this is 100% true, this is completely true, and a lot of people in Scotland will probably know the one that I'm talking about. Hidden in the building somewhere is a room, and in this room is a special team whose sole job it is to track down members of staff's Facebooks, Twitters, Instagrams, any kind of social media that the staff may have. If the member of staff is called sick, they will then go onto that member of staff's social media and look for any evidence that they might be lying. Like, for example, if they phone in and say, I'm not feeling well today, but on their Instagram there's pictures of them out in the club the night before and stuff like that, and then they'll go, alright, they're just hungover. Or if someone is phoned in sick and then they start uploading pictures of themselves down at the park, then they'll go, oh well, he's fucking lying. Right, I know that there are members of staff who phone in sick and take the piss, I completely understand that. But to have your own little personal NSA is fucking ridiculous. One of my favourite parts to talk about is call centre allocated personal time or toilet time, and call centres have actually been in the papers for this. I was in a call centre that gave you a daily 5 minutes of toilet time, Because if you try to go to the toilet while you're working, expect your manager to come up and give you the whole, well, why didn't you go on your break speech like you're some kind of fucking school child. I remember I went heavily over my toilet time because I took a really big shit. It was a fucking huge shit. Like I didn't need toilet paper, I needed a tampon. Damage was done. My manager approached me about being over my toilet time and I explained the situation to her. Then my manager actually said to me, in future make sure it doesn't take over 5 minutes. My manager indirectly asked me to shit faster. Remember during the interview when they told you would have all or some weekends off? Do you remember when they told you that? Because they don't. Also, if you finish at 5 PM and a call comes through at 4:59, you have to stay there and finish that call no matter how long it takes, because everyone loves unannounced and forced overtime. Oh, the last bus home is in 20 minutes. Tough shit. You do get the time back though. For example, if you are supposed to finish at 5 o'clock and you instead get kept behind until 5:30, you are owed that half hour back, so that's a half hour you can use to be off the phones. So here's what you do. You email your manager and ask your manager if you can use that half hour to finish at 4:30 on Saturday instead of 5, so you can go home early. Now, you need to send this email 4 times before your manager will reply. Your manager will deny this immediately. When they eventually do reply, you can then send back, well, when can I use this half hour? The manager will then say that they will check availability and get back to you, but they won't. So you send 4 more emails asking about your half hour until your manager finally gets back to you with a response. Either placing your half hour at some random point in the week that was totally useless and you totally didn't want to use your half hour for that, or they will try to find points of the week where you were late to work or late back from your break or anything like that, so that they can actually subtract that time off the half hour you're owed so that they can try and make it a smaller amount. Or taking that 30 minutes, dividing it by 5 and then adding a whole extra 7 minutes onto your lunch breaks for the entire week. That actually happened to me. It is murder trying to get your time back, but watch what happens if you try and log out 1 minute early. Honestly, the logout button is like a dog whistle that only managers can hear. Hit that button at 4:59 instead of 5 and watch them all come running. One thing that I will always remember is one time I was getting a call graded and I worked so hard on this call. I made sure that I got everything absolutely perfect on this call. I followed the procedures precisely, I offered all the relevant products, I did everything exact and to the letter. I then had my manager tell me that because I didn't ask the customer how their day was, I failed the entire call. All of that hard work was for nothing because I didn't ask the customer how their fucking day was. Because you get graded on rapport. Building rapport with customers is actually part of your targets. So see all of this, hi, how's your day going? Are you going anywhere nice this year? Do you have any plans for the weekend? Oh, you're killing yourself, that's awesome. It's all fake. The agent doesn't give a fuck about your answers to any of these questions. The only reason that we do it is because we don't want to fail the fucking call. Because it's easier to just, for a second, act like we actually care instead of getting shit from our manager for failing another call. I also got into trouble because I was on the phone to a customer who was screaming and swearing the moment they came through to me. They were going apeshit. And I actually got into trouble because I didn't ask them if they would like to apply for a credit card. See, things like the length of the call or the customer's attitude or the customer's circumstances, these are things that you have very little control over and they can really affect your targets. So see, even if one of these things, which you really do have very little control over, affects any of your targets and you fail any of your targets because of any of these things, it's still treated like it's 100% your fault. Also, see if you call in sick, even if you have a 100% valid reason, you're not faking it, you genuinely are sick, you will still get a disciplinary. You will get one, even if you were off for a completely valid reason. They take it down the disciplinary route as a formality and they probably will extend your probation over it as well. I've been in call centres where people have been off for completely legitimate reasons. They were genuinely sick or they had problems at home and they still got their probation extended. Call centres just really don't recognise that people do actually get sick and people do have problems at home. But in call centres, instead of helping you with that, you are instead punished for it. You're punished for being human. there are a lot of customers that you speak to and they are fucking lovely. They're so nice to talk to, you help them, they tell you thanks very much, and then they go on about their day and you feel good inside because you helped them. But a lot of customers come through and you aren't even fucking human to them. You're just some voice on the phone that they can take their entire day out on. People who work or have worked in call centres like me, how many times have you heard someone saying, I can hear crying coming for the toilets? I have even actually had to hug people who were in floods of tears over something that customers said to them on the phone or due to just the sheer stress of working in a call centre. I mean, this is a place where managers are pressuring you to keep the call under a certain amount of time, to meet all your targets, to build rapport with the customer, to upsell the correct products, to pass all your calls, to not be at the toilet for so long. To be able to put up with customers and managers constantly making you feel like a worthless piece of shit every day, to the point where it can actually cause you to have a severe mental breakdown at your desk, which I've seen several times. But despite all this, you are expected to give 100% of the time, all day, every day. And if you can't do that, it's your fault. Again, I'm not saying that all call centres are like this. These are just the experiences that I've had and the ones that I've worked in. It's just a fucking horrible place to work. Nothing generates work-related stress quite like a call centre does. People are pushed to levels of extreme stress and are made to feel completely worthless, and you are shown no gratitude whatsoever. You are worth more than that. Don't work in call centres. Just don't fucking work in call centres. Also, you'll get trainers and other staff members and managers saying things to you like, our staff turnover rate is 40%. It takes a special breed to work here. Fuck off. Your staff turnover rate is 40% because the job is fucking shit and everybody wants to leave. My green screen's fell.